Hey friends, let's talk about NPCs, which are non-playable characters, and the third man syndrome. This is super fascinating. So I was listening to a podcast with the great Tom Campbell, and somebody asked him about NPCs, which in the kind of simulation hypothesis world, NPC basically means that there's like these people on Earth that don't really have souls. They didn't come in the standard reincarnation process. They're here either as soulless kind of automatons or for other purposes. And there's a lot of different theories out there, but hearing Tom Campbell, and he's so logical and analytical, and everything he says makes sense because no one knows more about all of this than him. His point of view I thought was super interesting. So what he said an NPC is something that the system, because he believes that this world is basically a virtual reality of sorts, and that the system, meaning the higher intelligence, whatever you want to call that, source, God, creator, can inject things into, can just manifest anything it really wants into the system to kind of keep things on course. And that sometimes it manifests people out of thin air, essentially, because you don't really know where they came from or where they went. But as long as they're in front of your face and you're seeing them, they're as real can be, right? But that's the system manifesting these beings to carry out just specific temporary requests by the system. And that's what made me think of the third man syndrome. So the third man syndrome is this phenomenon that happens usually with explorers and adventurers, people getting stranded in the middle of nowhere and that kind of stuff, right? But it happens all the time. You can kind of look at it as a guardian angel type thing. So say somebody is out hiking in the middle of the forest and a rock falls on them and wedges them underneath, and they're just stuck in the middle of the forest by themselves under a rock. And then all of a sudden a person comes and moves the rock and says, hey, help's on the way. And then that person, whoa, that was crazy. Shit just fell right next to me. Anyways, you never know what's going to happen out here. Anyways, so say a rock falls on you, right? And this person comes and they roll the rock off of you and they say, help is on the way. And then that person walks off. And then the person who just got freed at the time, they're just like, thank you so much. But then they think about it and they're like, wait, I'm 20 miles from anything. And that person that came, they had like slacks on. They didn't have like hiking boots and a backpack, right? Like, who were they? And I didn't really see their face. It was kind of obscured a little bit. And they freed me. And they said help was on the way. And then like 2 minutes later, some people came and found me, right? So who was that person? Where did they come from? This is the third man syndrome. And it happens all the time. There's so many stories of this, kind of mysterious person that will help someone when they're in this very precarious situation and basically saves their life, doesn't say anything, doesn't give them their name, phone number, business card, and they just kind of walks off. And usually they're very out of place. Like they don't really fit in the style of their clothes and maybe their mannerisms. They're just sort of like it's like a Men in Black, but the good version, right? So that's the third man syndrome. Super fascinating. I've actually had stuff like that happen to me in my life. So what Tom Campbell said is that this is what an NPC is when the system puts these people, characters, avatars into the system to carry out a very specific purpose, like helping someone in need or freeing someone or changing the trajectory of something that wasn't supposed to happen in a certain way. There's a movie called The Adjustment Bureau, which is actually awesome. And it kind of goes into this, right? But that's what Tom Campbell says. NPCs are absolutely real, but they're more temporary. They don't live like complete lives. They kind of manifest into the system, into our virtual reality, carry out a specific task, and then sort of walk off. And then they're gone, right? But to you, at that time, when that person comes and helps you, they're so real, right? But then they went away, and you're like, who was that person? Well, that person probably doesn't exist. And that's an NPC in the mind of the great Tom Campbell. And who's going to argue with him, right? Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But only if you believe that this is a virtual reality, which all my arrows are pointing to yes, But it also says that the system itself, the higher power, is benevolent, because why else would it send these helpers, these guardian angels in there as NPCs to help people, right? So that's a good note to leave on. Hope you have a beautiful day. Let me know what you think about this. Peace.